Hey, welcome back to the third edition or third part of the series of hiring a virtual assistant. And today we are going to talk about onboarding your virtual assistant for maximum effectiveness. So you have your new VA, you've gone through the process, you're ready to go, they're getting ready to start their first day. We're going to talk about what the best effective way to onboard that virtual assistant. So here we go. This is exciting stuff. So the first thing you want to do is welcome them, obviously, welcome your new VA, but this is really, really important that you welcome them to your entire team. So my suggestion is you have a video conference, have a Zoom call, have a team meeting, include your processor, include your loan partner if you have one, include everybody on the team because you want your VA to really feel a part of the team. So that's real important. And you want them to feel like they play an integral part, even if they're only making phone, and I shouldn't say only, but even if they're making phone calls and doing marketing tasks and projects, you still want them to get to know the entire team. You want them to know what's going on, who does what, and just as detailed as you possibly can. So it's real important that you provide company background and information. Let your VA know exactly your company, what it stands for, what history you have. You want them to really feel comfortable with joining this team. So your company background, your team background. Number three is very important. Be as detailed as possible in defining the roles and responsibilities. They need to know exactly what they're going to be doing and how they're going to do it. I suggest having standard operating procedures in place to detail out exactly what they're responsible for. Be very clear on the tasks they're going to handle and what results you're expecting from them. That's real important. It's being result driven. You want to be as clear as you can on the results that you expect. So let's just say you hire a virtual assistant to make outbound phone calls and to schedule realtor appointments. You want to be as clear as possible on the entire strategy, how to do it, when to do it, what to write down, and then most importantly, what are your expectations? What do you expect them to do? So let's just say, for example, they're going to make outbound phone calls for 2 hour time block Monday through Thursday. So that's 8 hours. What's your expectation? How many appointments do you expect to be scheduled within that time period? For my personal caller, she'll schedule about 8 appointments in 8 hours. So she usually schedules about one an hour. Um, and that's just the expectation. Maybe I should have given her a higher expectation and she would schedule more. They don't know what they don't know. So come up with something that you feel like is fair than what you're expecting. If you're expecting 5 appointments a week, just have them work a couple hours, a few days a week, making those outbound calls. But again, what's most important is defining the role and responsibility as clearly as possible and giving those expectations with what goals you're expecting them to perform during that. So very, very important. Talked about this, setting clear expectations. Also with the amount of hours they're working. If they're working 9 to 5 Eastern time, Monday through Friday, then you want to be very clear that my expectation is that you're working for me. And this is part of the interview process too, is letting them know that you're only working for me, but let them know how you want them to how you want the communication to be. So, and we're going to talk about that in the next video on some of the software and things that you can use. But I'll give you an example for my virtual assistants. We use Slack, and I expect them to communicate within minutes that I text them or send them a DM. So if they're on phone call time blocks, then it may take a little bit longer for them to get back to me. But the expectation is that they get with me quickly, because I expect them to be on the clock. So it's no different than having any other team member, but to give clear expectations on work hours and communication style. So key performance indicators, KPIs, you want to have, again, it's back to the results driven expectations, letting them know what results you're expecting at the end of every shift or the end of every week, with the goals that they're to achieve. So we're going to talk about software to use for task management in the next video also. And that's real important because you want to be real clear on when you expect something to be done. So if you just give them a list, okay, here's a list of things I need you to do, that's too vague. You want to be very clear on, this is what I need you to do, this is when I need you to do it. Build out their time blocks if that helps, but and let them know this is the date that it's due, or this is the time and day that it's due. It might be today by 2 o'clock. It might be Friday by 5, but just remember to always be very clear on the expectations that you expect. Share relevant and important contacts. So you want to share the contacts or the people that they're going to be contacting. And I'll give you an example. With my virtual assistants, they get to know my realtor partners. So I shared my contact with them. I asked them to call my realtor partners and introduce themselves and let them know who they are and what they do for the team, and that they can be reached if they ever need, if the realtor ever has any questions or needs anything. I shared those contacts with my team member, my new virtual assistant, and it helps the virtual assistant get to know what's going on with the processes. And even if they're not going to work directly with the realtor, I still want them to be part of that team. Implement open communication. Always, if you're hiring a virtual assistant from the Philippines, they're very humble people. They will communicate however you ask them to communicate. So, but you want to let them know you do have an open door policy, and that they can communicate with you anytime they have questions. Sometimes they feel like they should know something, and if they don't know it, they're going to get in trouble. So they have that fear of communicating. So you just want to be very, very clear with them that you have an open door policy, that if they ever have any questions about anything, or if they're not sure about something, to please communicate with them, with yourself directly. So provide training if needed. Most of the time when you're hiring a virtual assistant, you're going to get somebody with experience. But what I've found is I'm going to always hire attitude over experience. So for example, when it comes to my CRM, I may hire a virtual assistant that's really good at CRMs, but maybe does not know my specific CRM. So I'm going to help them get trained. That does not mean I'm going to train them. What it means is they're going to go to the website, watch all the trainings, take copious notes for every bit of the training. So we have a how-to booklet after that, and they're going to teach themselves. And even if that means they go to YouTube, watch all the trainings, take notes, go to Google, find as many trainings as they can, they're going to teach themselves that software. So when I say in number 6, provide training, I'm talking more about letting them know the expectations and how what you expect day to day in, day out. So if they need to get trained on a software, or they need to be trained on something that you use in your mortgage business, they're usually going to train themselves on that and then actually teach you. So my VA knows much more about my personal CRM that I know myself, but she trains me on it as she learns more. So providing access to necessary tools and platforms. I get a lot of questions from people that ask, how can I trust my virtual assistant for me to give them my credentials? It's really a virtual assistant is no different than any associate or any team member that you have. You're going to build trust over time. So from day one, you're probably not going to give them your bank account logins. And I'm being facetious with that, but you're going to trust them as time goes. Um, there are some tools that you can do, like share my PC, if at the beginning of the relationship you don't want to give them credentials. But if you do need certain tools and credentials to give them, you can use that share my PC. And basically what that does is they have access to, let's just say, the CRM at the beginning of the relationship, so they don't have the personal logins. And again, if anything ever happened, like any team member, you're going to change the logins anyway. So that's enough on that. Implement regular check-in, check-out routine, end of day report. I talked about that already a little bit. You're gonna you want them clearly understanding when they start, when they can take a lunch break, when they end their day. And I'll give you an example. My virtual assistants, what they do is at the beginning of their shift, they always message me. We might have a 5 minute or a 10-minute quick meeting to talk about what the agenda is for the day. Sometimes we do it on Monday for the entire week. So we'll do a quick meeting, talk about goals and what's expected for the day. And then at the end of the day, let's say I get really busy and we're not communicating as much during the day. At the end of the day, they'll let me know they're about to leave, and they'll send me an EOD report, which is an end of day report that, like I said earlier, details out everything that they accomplished for the day, the goals they hit, the expectations they achieved, and everything that they got done, including messages for me and so forth. So you want to let them know that that's expected. And that's it. So the next, I told you it was going to be a short one. The next class, the final class is going to be on tools that we use with virtual assistants. And this one's really good. You want to take good notes, and you can download the PowerPoint and get a list of all the tools. But we'll see you then.